Welcome everyone to Unscripted Coding. Today we are going to continue working on our document analyzer project. We have separately built a function previously, Azure function, in which we could upload images or scans or documents and get text back. So that was step one. Step two was creating this UI in which we can repeatedly ask the same questions of AI of a couple of documents. So I'm not the only one in the world who works an office job. Many people who do understand that there are very many repeated menial tasks. And one example is perhaps getting a lot of invoices, and you are always asking or checking a few things. Is it over a certain threshold? Let's say, is it over $5,000? Is the date in this quarter or this calendar year? Is there a set of terms? Is there anything that should be flagged? Whatever. You have a couple of questions and then, 100 invoices that come in. And what we created this interface for is to be able to take a random document. And so, for example, I'm going to drop this Word document. It's going to process a sample file and extract the text over here. And so we have a long sample file. And we're just going to ask it questions. Analyze document. Now this is a lorem ipsum, which means that it means nothing. There's nothing in here, but we can potentially ask useful questions. How long is lorem ipsum? How big is this file? Whatever. And then once we're done, I can go and move on. And this time we're doing a PDF instead of a Word document. Once again, this is just a dummy file, but we can analyze a document all over again and ask the same things. Unable to get a response, so that's not great. I'm going to switch to Gemini 4.0 for now. So you can see the use of this, but there are two features I wanted to add to this today. And what we're going to do is we're going to use AI, predictably, to try and add these two features so that we don't have to manually code a whole lot. The first is I want to be able to save these sets of questions. Now this interface we've designed, we can add new questions, delete them as we want, and what are the main points of this document? What do you think of this document? Is there any value in it? But this might be my first batch. This is when I want to summarize articles. And then I might want to save another set of 3 questions, which does pertain to invoices. So when is the date? How much is it? Blah, 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 blah. And then save that as a batch. So that's feature number 1 that I wanted to add, and I think it's fairly easy. This is just a list of text that's being saved in the back in the local storage. So I think what we can do is we could just put a couple of options over here so that we could save the questions. Maybe a button over here under Add a Question, Save Question Set, throw it into the sidebar as one batch, and then maybe limit it to a batch of 10. And then when you click it, it restores the questions. The second feature I want to do is being able to add multiple files at once. So right now, the original that you saw from the last video, we can only drag one file at a time. And the reality is my job isn't so repetitive and menial, but many people's are. And so when I shared this with a few friends, they mentioned that, they do have hundreds of invoices and they'd love to be able to drag 10, 20, 50 of them all at once. Now, I don't know if I can do 50 of them at once, and especially with a provider like Gemini, they have been throttling a lot more. So you're gonna run into issues that it's bottlenecked by the quota and I guess your wallet as well. But nevertheless, I wanted to create a way in which we can drag and drop multiple files. Now, I've already done a quick and dirty way of doing this, so I'll show you right here. When I drag and drop 2 files, you can see that it's processing the first, and then the second, what it's doing is putting these 2 in the same kind of text box and just calling it different files. What I was envisioning as an alternative option is that each document gets its own text box. So you start getting one, then another, and each one will have the same 3 questions being asked. So what's going to happen is we're going to have 1 card, 2 cards, 3 cards, 4 cards, 5 cards, up to 50 or 100 or whatever. And when you ask these questions, it's going to ask for the first one and the response right underneath, second card, third card, and go through. Those are the 2 features I'm hoping to implement, and I'm hoping that we can do a fairly quick video because we'll use AI. Nevertheless, I'm going to stop talking because it does take time to wait for a response. So I'm going to start with adding the save question features first. Okay, let's do a quick update here. About 22 minutes in, AI and I worked together for a few things. Is it great time? I wonder if I could have done this in 22 minutes, but nevertheless, we have a bunch of questions, and this time around, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the different questions. I'm going to save the set as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we know what to expect. And we could load different ones. Here's the summaries. This is the standard set of questions I ask. Here's just some other test ones, but if we go back to our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see, and we can, delete, and then save this as 1, 2, 3 as a new session, and then we load different ones. So the other thing is this will persist. So if I refresh, I'm going to go back to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course I can change, add, delete, all of that. And these should be actual questions instead of numbers. Okay, for our next part, we're going to try and do this extraction in different cards. This will change how the app will work. So if I were to program this manually, it would be kind of annoying because like this analyze document will have to be run once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times for different documents. So let's keep going. Ta-da! Another 12 minutes in. This one was a lot quicker. I suspected this would have been the harder of the 2 because the save question sets, they were just lists of text moving back and forth with the with the local storage. So I'm not sure why we kept tripping up on this one, but in this case, our files, we just moved it into the side instead of in one giant text area with all the files. Now we've split it up into cards, and in this case, it's done a pretty nice job of answer the questions. What are they? Here it is. What it is. And I had thought, we're not going to do this today, that it might be worthwhile to say, can we do this in a Excel or a chart format, so that I would have dummy PDF answer in like columns and rows. We could worry about that in the future. But basically, we had that analyzed document, and now instead of running it a single time, we are going, for each of these cards, we are going to run it. And then within that analyzed document function, every time we run on one document, it will iteratively go through each of these questions. So it should be fairly straightforward as code, and it's just fun to keep asking AI and pushing it to do things rather than writing it yourself. Depends who you are, but I have found this much easier on the brain and much less kind of hands-on. But you did probably see me debug here and there, where I went in and I just went, I'm not sure why the AI went a certain way, and I've kind of directed my question so that more pointedly, let's keep using the analyze document function, let's push it back in the right direction. But overall, I'm thrilled with these enhancements. This will make the tool much, much, much more useful. In the future, when I have time, I think I'm going to polish it so that there are two different ways. One is to have each of the files separately ask the questions, and the other was our original version, where all of the files get piled together and we can ask questions about them all. The saved question sets are great, and then the Excel kind of spreadsheet response would be a great feature addition too. But yeah, I think this will be pretty cool. I wonder what happens if I do this. So it clears the existing questions. That's pretty good, actually. If it clears the existing questions, we can ask a separate set of questions. I hope you found that useful, because I think we're at the point where a lot of people are using AI, but chat-gpt, as great an interface as it is to learn how to use AI, to see it in many different contexts, we're starting to get, at least I'm starting to see people in the workplace become power users, in which some very small subset of people are using it for all sorts of day-to-day tasks over and over and over, such that just using ChatGPT over and over really sucks, where you kind of prep the prompt, you ask the prompt, and then you do it again and again and again. We're going to start seeing, I think, a lot of these new interfaces where it's very pointed, very direct towards users. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed watching this. I think there are still plenty of ideas. This is very pointed towards office workers, but other people use ChatGPT as well. And if you get to use it well, I think there are still a lot of easy kind of ways you can make that experience better. Thanks for watching. Bye.